Hi, I'm Jodi Grant. I'm the Executive Director of the Afterschool Alliance, and I am here today because the Bowne Foundation, under the leadership of Lena and Ann, has done such tremendous things in the field of afterschool. Hundreds of thousands of kids right here in New York City have enjoyed quality programs because of their leadership, their strategic investment in the programs and the programs leaders. I am so proud to have been part of the after-school effort here in New York City. I am so proud to have worked with Lena and Ann, and I thank you for all that you've done.
Hi, my name is Karen Griswold, and I'm retired now, but at the time of the memory I'm thinking of, I was working with the Institute for Literacy Studies at Lehman College, and there are lots of good memories of working with the Bowne Foundation, but one I have in particular is the adult, it's actually the youth professional development group, which at that time was made up primarily of people in adult education, since there were relatively few people supporting youth programs. And what we did in that group is talk together about different articles and different ideas we had, and that group over time evolved into doing workshops that youth programs came to that helped them kind of adjust their model a bit from providing homework help only to people attending their program to something broader than that, that included either libraries or some other way of integrating reading and writing into their program. And it was very exciting work, and really a highlight of the work I've done over the years.
Hey, I'm Matt Mahoney with Operation Exodus, and I think I first met Ann and the Bowne Foundation in the early 2000s. I just joined my organization after teaching and was looking for a lot of help. How do I help a whole bunch of kids improve their literacy? And we had some ideas, but I'm very thankful we found Bowne and Ann. Ann very quickly established herself as someone who knew a lot, someone who had done a lot, and not only could offer great ideas, but could be supportive and encouraging. And so I think through getting to know Ann and through starting to work with Bowne, a whole bunch of things opened up to us. And what I really appreciated was Bowne's help outside of just the normal, how their evaluation seminars and their networking meetings were all designed to help us connect with each other, maybe share information and resources. And it's just made such a difference to our organization and the quality of the work that we can do with students. And I'm so appreciative of that. So thanks for everything.
My name is Carolyn McLaughlin. For 34 years, I was the executive director of BronxWorks, previously known as Citizens Advice Bureau. We became a youth service provider in the 1990s, and it was the Robert Bowne Foundation that took us really by the hand and showed us what a quality after-school program would be. Vivian Vasquez at that time was our director of youth services, and we developed really first-class after-school programs thanks to Bowne. Bowne stayed with us for over 20, maybe 25 years. Lena joined our board of directors. She was a wonderful member of our board. Lena, thank you very, very much. Thank you for chairing the program committee. Thanks for your guidance. Thanks for all your support. Thanks for funding us when our program, the funding was shaky. You kept our program going at difficult times. You and I are going to stay in touch. I wish you the very best in your next stage of life, both you and Ann, and look forward to what lies ahead.
Hi, I'm Elyse Eidman-Aadahl from the National Writing Project, Executive Director. And when I think of the Bowne Foundation and I think about the amazing work that's been done here, one of the most powerful things I would say is that it's been amazing for the National Writing Project to be a partner with the Bowne Foundation in spreading the amazing work going on in New York City to other parts of the country. Here in New York City, one of the things that the foundation supported was the leadership development and really truly voice from practitioners in after-school and out-of-school spaces. And along with the National Institute for Out-of-School Time, the foundation's grants allowed us to bring that model for practitioner fellowships to cities actually across the country and allow so many more out-of-school, mid-level and emerging career leaders to grow in their practice and to spread powerful practice in their place. And I would say one other thing. It's been so dramatic for the National Writing Project itself in a way that the foundation probably doesn't even know. For us to be able to integrate into our local communities extraordinary practitioners who are really theorizing how young people can learn 24/7 all through their lives, not just in school. Because school alone doesn't own learning in this country. All of us together have to create a learning ecology for young people, and that's what this foundation has always understood and what they've helped us create while we've helped support out-of-school practitioners. We thank you so much and want to honor Lena and Ann and all the staff, but really also the vision of the Bowne Foundation over the years. Thank you.
Back in 1995, I had the opportunity of starting a program called Rauschenbusch Metro Ministries. It was a program in Hell's Kitchen which focused on education of children, as well as English as a third or fourth language for speakers of other languages, as well as multiple programs for the disadvantaged and disenfranchised in Hell's Kitchen. We were looking for funding, but we were a new program, and none of the large organizations would talk with us, really. Our funds, our budget, our history was not such that we merited or warranted the interests of larger organizations. Someone suggested I contact the Robert Bowne Foundation, which reluctantly I did because I didn't think we met their criteria, but in that process I met Lena Townsend, and Lena became an astounding friend to me and to our organization through the years, coming through and helping fund us, believing in us when other organizations would not, and always finding ways to help us build and strengthen and enrich our program so that through the years it has grown and continued to nurture elementary school kids, high school kids, and the Hell's Kitchen community. While the community has gentrified in many ways in recent years, and I'm no longer a part of that program, there's still more kids and more families being served by the programs that Bowne Foundation helped support in those early days. Lena believed in me so much she sent me off to try to get me some education so that I would be able to do a better job at what I did, and sponsored me through Columbia Business School's Leadership Development Program, as well as helping others on our staff develop those skills that were needed. After a couple of years, I didn't send in an application for a renewal of funds, and I get this frantic call from Lena wanting to know why not, and I said, well, you said it was for 2 years, and I'm at the end of my 2 years, so I just assumed I wouldn't send it in. She says, I've got it here, it's ready to go, I just need your application, please send it to me. And so I scrambled, and she and the organization, not just Lena, but others with that organization have continued to provide the important nurture that we needed. It's sad to see the end of that foundation in its former state, but it has done a great deal to help the underserved communities throughout the greater New York area. And I'm proud to know Lena, the organization, and the Robert Bowne Foundation. Thank you very much.
Hi, I've known and loved the Bowne Foundation for about 30 years. They have wonderful workshops, great network meetings, and of course financial support. But the best thing about the Bowne Foundation is the staff. Lena Townsend and Lawrence and Diane Kangasser. Bowne Foundation is a place a literacy program can always go for help, whether you're actually getting financial support or not. They would answer your questions, refer you to other places, provide other kinds of support. They always had ideas and ways to help in a literacy program, especially for small organizations as I was in, where we were kind of out on our own in places and had no one else to turn to. So Bowne Foundation will always have my undying support, and I'm very, very sorry that they're going out of business. I think this is a real loss for New York City.
Diane, Lena, Ann, thank you so much for everything you've done on behalf of New York City kids and New York City programs. And thank you as well for giving us the opportunity at the Institute for Literacy Studies to make a contribution to your work. I will never forget the conversations that we've had with each other, the work that we've done across programs, and the opportunity that we've had to design courses and programs and publications to support the work of the Bowne Foundation. You've made such a difference to me and such a difference to everyone. Thank you again.
My name is Ellen Gannett. I'm the director of the National Institute on Out-of-School Time, based at Wellesley College, the Wellesley Centers for Women. And today, I'm very grateful to be here to celebrate with the Robert Bowne Foundation, its board, and most importantly, Ann Lawrence and Lena Townsend, who have been phenomenal in their support of the out-of-school time sector. NIOST, my organization, has been the recipient of a legacy grant, and we are extremely grateful for that. What it's going to mean is that so much of their work that they have invested in for the past decades will live on. It will live on at Wellesley. The After School Matters Initiative, the After School Matters journals, and most importantly, the After School Matter Practitioner Fellowship Program, which is now a national organization. We've brought together 23 of the most fantastic leaders, and we are thrilled because of the resources that the Robert Bowne Foundation has given us. We now can have great leadership, great writing, great research for a number of years. Personally, I want to thank Lena especially for finding me that wonderful day back in Cambridge about 7 or 8 years ago when we had breakfast together. And she said, I searched far and wide looking for the very best program, the program that really understood practitioners and understood researchers at the same time. And she said, boy, I found it in Ellen Gannett and in the National Institute. And this is where I want to have the After School Matters initiative housed. So here we are. We're about to celebrate the sunsetting of the foundation. Sad about that, but happy that their work will live on.
My name is Leonard Witt. I'm the publisher of Youth Today. And a couple years ago, I walked into the Robert Bowne offices. I had called Lena Townsend, and she said, yeah, come on by. We'll have a conversation. We didn't know each other. It was basically a cold call. And I explained to her what we had done on we have two websites. One is Youth Today, and the other is the Juvenile Justice Information Exchange. And the MacArthur Foundation had this project called Models for Change. It was going into a legacy mode. They didn't know what to do with their millions of dollars worth of research they produced, and we said, hey, we could put it on our juvenile justice site. People will come in for news, commentary, and then they'll see this rich, deep body of research. So I explained that to Lena, and she said, well, we're going into a legacy mode ourselves, and you know what, Leonard, I've been waiting for you to walk in this door for 3 years because we didn't have a clue what we were going to do with all of this research that we'd done. We thought it would just end up in a box in a library. So that started a really nice partnership, and they've underwritten the Youth Today hub. And it's some of the topics are literacy, how to work with kids, leadership, and there's a whole big section on there on the Robert Bowne Foundation. It's a legacy page. And we'll keep adding to that. We've hired Sara Hill, who's an expert in this area. She finds the old stuff that was important, but also the new and continuing stuff. So hopefully, 3, 5, 10, 15 years, 20 years from now, the Robert Bowne Foundation will be very much alive on our Youth Today hub. So that's kind of my story. It's been wonderful working with the board, with Lena and Ann, Karen, all the different folks at the Bowne Foundation. They are terrific people, and when you start coming to the hub, you'll see this wonderful body of work that they've created over the years, and now it has a life longer than the physical Bowne Foundation.
My name is Linda Vereline, and I have a long professional history with the Robert Bowne Foundation. Over time, I was part of the consultants group and also was part of working with the researchers. I was the writing facilitator for that, for Afterschool Matters. But the story I want to tell is my initial experience with the Bowne Foundation. I was the director of learnings, the learning centers for Project Reach Youth, which is a small not-for-profit in Brooklyn. And early on, Diane Kangasser came out to interview me with my executive director to see if we'd be a candidate for funding. She, as I told her this evening, she walked me around Prospect Park and peppered me with questions to see. We got the funding, and the funding made a huge difference in that after-school program. We, at the time, ran after-school centers at 3 elementary schools and 1 middle school, and the funding allowed us to establish libraries of young adult and children's literature for all of them. And without a doubt, the after-school programs made a difference in those lives. I still, more than 30 years later, live in those communities, and the children are now young adults, and the difference that the Bowne funding made for them and for students around the city and children and families around the cities is just unnameable. And for me, selfishly, professionally, what Bowne provided was, I would say, the crowning glory of my professional life. It was wonderful. Thanks to all of you, to Lena, to Diane, to everyone. Thank you.
The thought that I had, the memory that I had was working with Lena at the Robert Bowne Foundation, designing the National Afterschool Matters Practitioner Fellowship, and how much freedom I was given by Lena to have a vision and create something that I had been wanting to do for years, and having support that I'd never had, and a boss that trusted me and my expertise and my experience. And we created that something is still going on many years later. And I have to say that Lena was one of the most inspirational and the best bosses I've ever had. And we created something beautiful.
Through their advocacy, their technical assistance, from the individual mentoring by Diane and Lena and Ann, from the many opportunities to participate in the Julia Palmer Library Project, the Bowne Research Fellows, the many roundtables that we've been to. There has been such a rich and important learning process that we've been through. And most of all, I want to thank you for always remembering that the work is done by people, and that the most important thing we can do to develop this field is to develop the people who do the work. So thank you so much, Robert Bowne Foundation. We really, really love and treasure you. And your legacy persists in the many generations of youth workers that have been exposed to your thinking. Thank you.
Reimagining after school. When I first heard about this effort, I was relatively new to the foundation world and after-school programs. Now, over 2 decades later, I can really appreciate the impact that the Robert Bowne Foundation had in creating the nexus between the love of reading and after-school education, and the importance of professional development and letting programs think and speak for themselves. There is no question that the Bowne Foundation and its wonderful staff throughout the years raised after-school education from 1.0 to 3.0. Hopefully, those of us who have learned so much from Bowne's different initiatives will continue to support the wonderful inroads that have been made to create even more wonderful places for children to thrive.
I'm eternally grateful to the Bowne Foundation because at the point at which we started a program at High Five Tickets to the Arts, which we called the TRACK program, Teen Reviewers and Critics, they were the funders that came through, took the risk, and funded us from the beginning. And it was that kind of seed money that enabled us to move a program forward that was brand new, had never been done before, and turned out to be, I would say, the most exciting teen writing program that I have ever encountered. We had students from all the schools in the city that represented all kinds of ethnic and racial groups, coming from public schools, some from private schools, some from homeschool, that came together to look at art, to go to the theater, to hear music, and to write reviews about their experiences. And Anne and Lena were supportive all the way through. They were marvelous partners in this. They professionalized what we were doing, and it was for the students an incredible experience, and for the faculty as well. They told us that they had never had, in all of their teaching lives, the kind of experiences they had with these kids. So I thank them, and I thank Bowne.
Hello, Bowne Foundation. Thank you for this opportunity to thank you for your partnership over the years. It's been a lovely evening, a lovely program, very moving. And I think what I would add to the things that we heard tonight was that you have a vision of understanding what it takes to support programs wholly. When you have thought about capacity building, you've thought not just about the programmatic support, but also about the work that's needed to work with boards of directors and strategic plans. It was a great deal of foresight that you have demonstrated over the years, and we appreciate so much being your partners year after year to do the good work of supporting these programs, these wonderful programs in these communities that are helping many, many young people. And just on a personal note, Lena and Anne and Diane, all of you have been just wonderful human beings, good listeners, and just it's been wonderful to be your colleague. Thank you a lot.
As usual, Holly said it all. Let me just say this. When I think about the Bowne Foundation, and specifically Lena and Anne, whom I've gotten to know over the years, I think about what funders propound to do, which is fund and inspire, provide the resources and the research and the rigor and support. The reality is very few do all of that. And what we have seen from you is the ability and the willingness to be partners in the struggle for a vision that inspires us all. We have been honored to be a part of that, and we are grateful for the inspiration and the support that you've provided us, and by extension to our clients and your grantees. We are very lucky. Thank you.
We don't know what we're saying, we haven't planned it. But even now, as we sit here in front of this camera, it's wonderful to feel that the Bowne Foundation cares about our experience, and that reflects so many of our experiences with the Bowne Foundation. And one thing I was thinking about that one of the board members said so beautifully, about the humility and confidence with which the Bowne Foundation goes about its work. I was thinking very much about the parallel process that they explicitly engage in. We're good? Okay, so the parallel process that they engage in, where they're very clear that we're learning from the kids as practitioners, management is learning from staff is learning from management, programs are learning from the foundation is learning from programs, and we're all part of this big learning community together. I felt so supported by that community, and I feel that this notion of parallel process has helped me as a manager engage staff and then children in that same sort of thinking, and it's very informal and warm and welcoming, and I feel it's a gift that the foundation gave me that I'm able to pass on.
For me, I can only hope that I'm able to have moments in my career as a manager and a leader that reflect and the experiences I've had with the Bowne Foundation, and then I'm able to have these moments in my career that like exists the way that the Bowne Foundation does, and that I guess my biggest gift from them is that I know that I'll always carry them with me in all the work that I do, because it's been such a strong, and I've only known them for 2 years, and they've become such a strong and powerful presence in my life, and I don't have enough words to thank them for that.
Greetings. Ife Tayo, love brings joy, and that's what you've brought to us, is lots of love and joy in assisting us in the work that we do. Everyone who's participating in the project are all professionals, and every professional has tools that need to be honed, renewed, sharpened, and that's what the Robert Bowne did. I look forward for every session to have my tools sharpened, honed, and renewed. Thank you.
And I think the greatest memory that I have is our most recent project, which was the book that we created at the end of the Julia Palmer project. And it was an amazing feat, I think, to have a vision to do it, to really see literacy at work was great, but also the understanding that how important culture is in every person's work, how important that process was, and how we don't, how through the process we had the opportunity to really engage with our communities and really figure out what really works for us and find a way to make sure literacy really matters. And so that has been the biggest accomplishment that we've had in our partnership with Robert Bowne, and I'm really, really thankful that we've had all these years participate. We love you all, and we cannot wait to see what happens next.
Well, I'll start. I just had a great time meeting again Dien, who was the person from the Bowne Foundation who discovered us 24, 25, 26 years ago, and was really instrumental in helping us figure out what it is we were trying to do. We had a basement space for free in our neighborhood, and a group of neighbors got together and rehabbed the young people, the teenagers, rehabbed the space. We had a teen center going, we had an after-school program going, but all we knew was that we didn't want it to be like school. We wanted it to be learning and growing and educational, but we didn't want it to, we wanted it to be fun. So Dien enters and helped us as what they talked about tonight, the technical assistance people and the neighborhood community people, and working together to create something that's lasted. We're in our 26th year, so it's been good stuff. And we've got the best program we've had in a long time, but carrying out exactly those principles, so that Anne and Lena have also, there's a big gap there, and then the Bowne Foundation, and then another big gap, and then the Bowne Foundation, but they are funding our media arts program, which is the same philosophy of doing something you want to do and learning in order to do it.
Right. And I appreciate the Bowne Foundation for supporting that media arts program. I was introduced to Bowne, I believe, probably in 2013. Pretty late, around 2013.
Probably.
I was introduced around to Bowne, and I was going to their networking meetings down at CRE, and I really enjoyed being around like-minded people and nonprofit who are all searching for new ways to engage their young people. And they also gave each of us an opportunity to share our best practices as well. It was just a great environment to be in, I believe, on a monthly basis. And then sharing those resources by email and sharing everybody's email, it was just a great opportunity. And then going down to linking with Taproot through Bowne. up with taproom, and 2 of the taproom volunteers are still working with us way after that one day that we had to give them our whole spill and have them help us out in a couple hours. They agreed to stay on with us, and they're still working with us around evaluation. So it's been good. It's been good. And then also to have a program officer like Ann to come down to the program and actually sit there and watch our videos. Up to the program, way up in the North Bronx.
In the North Bronx.
Yeah. And
upstate, as my friend calls it.
Right. And really hang out with us and watch some of the projects and really show a real investment in the work that we're doing. It's good.
And I want to also just say about that networking series that Ann has nurtured has meant a lot to us in terms of I think your growth and understanding what it is you're doing and how you're doing it.
Yeah, let me say something about that because she asked me to come and present one time at the networking meetings. And I've been doing this work for a long time, since the age of 17, so that's about almost 18 years now. And at that time, I didn't, some of the stuff you just do by nature, just an innate thing, you have just like this talent, but being at those networking meetings, it made me see the impact that I was actually having, and I didn't realize the jewels that I had in our curriculum until I started talking at these meetings. It's like, wow, you do this, you do that, come present it. And I'm like, oh, wow, yeah, we have some real jewels here, so let me continue to build on that. So it helps me see my own talent by being at those meetings. Yeah.
Can I say one more thing?
Nope.
Which is Bowne Foundation money funneled through the Community Resource Exchange has been incredibly helpful for Aisha and I to figure out over like a 3-year period. We've been getting technical assistance, helping us figure out how to make what we do sustainable, and for me to be able to rebalance my life, not retire, but rebalance, and move so that Aisha can move into, what we've been doing fully. So it's terrific.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bowne.
Cool. My name is Daniel Peralta with the Boyd CDC.
And I'm Earl Skinner.
Yeah, we just wanted to, again, say thank you, a big, huge thank you to Robert Bowne. We were just having a conversation a minute ago about the impact of this work that they've had on our work and on ourselves. It's very hard work to do, obviously, but one of the things that I didn't even touch upon, all these years that I've been thinking about what Robert Bowne does, one thing that really stuck to me tonight is the legacy of it, being a part of this larger, for lack of a better word, a tribe, of people that understand this work. And again, I'm very grateful for that. I didn't realize, again, what I was a part of, the lineage of people that have done some amazing things. I took for granted that this work existed before I got here. Yeah. And again, I want to thank these people for putting this work at the forefront of my life, you know what I mean? And really showing me the way to do it. Yeah.
And just for me, I'm just so proud of the work you do, not just from the standpoint of a kind foundation that doesn't act like any other foundation that I've ever been exposed to, in terms of literally coming in and not coming in on a level of intimidation and just saying, how can we support you? How can we help you do what you do? How can we make that as easy as possible? And then on the other end of the spectrum, to support us as leaders and to support our personal literacy, because they understand that the land and the king or the queen are one, so to speak. That if we are enriched in our own literacy and our own journey in that regard, that it's going to trickle down to the staff and youth that we work with. So I'm proud and I'm blessed to be able to be in contact with you guys and have you guys for your financial support, but more so your mentorship and your leadership.
Thank you guys. Best of luck. 50 more years, word.